Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk Music. Ooh!
The extravaganza.
Yeah, we're going to do that every time now.
I promise this time we'll not talk about country music while we're talking about a heavy metal band.
I got a little bit of shit about that. A little bit, yeah. I don't care. I thought it was kind of funny. Cool. Yeah. It was kind of cool.
Well, I mean, it was an interesting topic, and what else is going to spur on a conversation about country music than listening to Testament? So
right, exactly. So we're going to listen to Cowboys from Hell by Pantera today. They had, correct me if I'm wrong, Casey, two or three albums before that? Yeah. Let's get some facts going. This is their major label debut.
Yeah.
Which was released on July 24th, 1990, 2 days before your 5th birthday?
Yeah, I would have been 5.
By Atco Records. And the producer was Terry Date.
Oh, yeah. So it must have been Terry Glaze was their original singer then. So I always get the names confused.
Yep, and this was also the album where Pantera fully abandoned their glam metal style of their previous albums in favor of a heavier sound.
Yeah.
It has been recognized as one of the first ever groove metal albums.
Oh, yeah.
Which, dude, this album's fucking sick.
Well, it's really evident on this album, too, because, I mean, it's not, like I said, I've not heard their previous albums before this, but just in hearing people talk about their other albums, no, this is a whole different beast. I mean, to me, this is what really kind of, I didn't hear this till years later, like probably in like the early 2000s. Yeah. But this really kind of opened my eyes to what heavy metal can be.
We'll get our personal lives out of the way.
Well, a big one, Jake came over on Thursday on Thanksgiving and laid down a solo on one of my tracks, and then we got it mixed real good.
It's going to get mixed better.
Well, yeah. And we're probably going to redo the drums on it because I like it, but it's like, it's a little too busy.
There's a bit to be desired still with it.
Yeah.
To put it in a way.
Right. But I mean, overall, though, I mean, I'm really happy with the way it came out as far as musically and as far as like how tight it was and that part of the production. But yeah, I mean, it's still got to get mixed a little more. Yeah. And the solo you put down, I thought was amazing. Like it's a very good solo.
I ended up redoing it because I am a little bit of a perfectionist. Right. It's still not perfect. The tapping part's still not great, but you can't tell. I don't know. So I redid it at home by myself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited too because the rest of the album too is coming along. I think I got the rhythm tracks mostly done.
Done written or done recorded?
Recorded.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I got most of the guitar rhythm tracks recorded for most of this like composed songs that I have, and then I'm probably gonna put. I hate to use the word throwaway songs or filler songs, but I got to put something else in there too because I only got like 6 songs right now.
Well, how long is it? With the 6 songs, is it going to be?
It's like right around 30 minutes. Okay. So I mean, it's like, it's decent, but it's like I don't know. I need to like I'm not going to try to write filler songs, but I'm going to try to write something so that way it fills out a little bit more of time.
Let's get to Pantera. Yeah, it's right out of the fucking gates, dude. It's fucking that riff is so iconic. I wasn't the biggest Pantera fan for a long time, and I don't know why. I've always liked Pantera. I've always known like they're really popular shit, but I've never been like a huge Pantera fan until like the last few years. And I still wouldn't consider myself a huge Pantera fan. I like Pantera. Don't get me wrong,
right?
But I don't think, other than like this one and maybe Vulgar Display, I don't think I've actually sat down and listened to an entire album of theirs.
No,
I just skip through them to the ones that like this one and Domination and
right.
I even honestly like I'm just kind of tired of Cemetery Gates. It's a great song and his voice is awesome, but
see, I'm on the other end.
I've just heard it so many fucking times.
Right, I can't get enough Cemetery Gates. It's just the way it was constructed and the kind of solos he does in there. Like that's what I mean by like it really opened my eyes to what you can do with metal because it was so melodic and so heartfelt, the kind of solo we put in there. And then I think that's Phil's best singing job, really.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from them with that song. I've heard
it's been played so many times.
I've heard it way too many times.
I mean, this album, for me, really what it was that aggressive guitar tone.
Yeah.
I never heard anything like that. Even
Yeah.
Metallica, because I mean we were big into Metallica when we were kids, and then we thought that was like the end all be all for how heavy you can be. You listen to this and you're like, fuck.
Yeah, well, I think he was using Randall's back then.
I'm pretty sure it was Randall at the time.
And I don't know if they were solid state or not, but he just did that, classic scoop, just no mids, all highs, all lows.
Yeah,
just
jam it
that
up.
Super, super aggressive tone, and like gain is just cranked.
Oh yeah.
But I learned over time that this is one of those bands that you can't casually listen to it. You just can't. You have to have it fucking cranked.
Yeah,
to understand it. Like why? Because a lot of people say his guitar tone sounds like shit, and I was one of them for a long time. Until you crank it, and you're like, okay, this makes sense now. And I mean, production-wise, for their first album, it's not bad, And I think after this, his guitar tone got a bit thicker.
Yeah. I think like a lot of the guitar players, metal guitar players in the 90s, he's like, might have to put some mids in, I don't know. So,
And they got heavier, because I think, Vulgar Display was your second album, right?
Yeah. Oh, God.
And that was with Walk. Like, that's such a simple fucking riff, but, I mean, other than the breakdown of Domination, is there really any riff heavier than that?
I don't think so.
It's
I really
so
don't.
simple, man, but it's fuck, dude. And then every guitarist that I've talked to or that I know, for the most part, are like, damn, I wish I wrote that riff.
Yeah.
Like, it's so simple, but it's so fucking effective. Like, it's crazy.
It's still a good heavy riff. I mean, that one and what's the other one I'm thinking of? This song actually, Primal Concrete Sledge. I love the way that the guitar just the whole song. It's so cool in this album cover. They're just like normal dudes, and they're just hanging out, and, doing crazy shit in the bar and all that. But I don't know, like they look like your crazy uncles. That's what's cool about this band.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so we were talking about it earlier. They have 4 albums before Cowboys from Hell. Metal Magic, Projects in the Jungle, I Am the Night, and Power Metal.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And then what's crazy is, like, this is their debut album, whatever, major label debut, but this was, like, the middle of their career.
Right.
Because there was 4 before that, and then there were 4 after this, so this was dead center in their career. Yeah. And, man, dude, they fucking just killed it. This album was so good. But, I don't know, I think the reason I didn't like Pantera for a long time is because I just thought they were pretty cheesy.
I mean, at the time, yeah.
Yeah, and then, once you get... Damn, that's a short song.
Yeah. And Psycho Holiday's a cool song.
Yeah, but as I got older, just learned to appreciate it more.
Yeah.
The more I got into heavier music, the more I started to really appreciate these guys. And, like, to me, these guys kind of... I feel like this was the beginning of, like, the kind of music that I listened to. Like, I don't think there would be any of that, like, metalcore. And I know it doesn't sound the same at all, but... There's so many, like, the guitarists and musicians that I listen to that their biggest influence is Pantera.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, and it's like all of them. And I just, for the longest time, I just didn't fucking get it.
I think the connection that I can make, just having heard both, the metalcore music and this, they do have a good sense of melody in Pantera. It's really kind of covered up by the crushing rhythms that they have and all that, but... I mean, I think that's where a lot of the metalcore bands kind of got their influence, was mostly Dimebag.
Yeah.
I mean, he really was that good, and he really was that innovative.
Yeah. Again, I don't know if this is solid state amps or not that he used in this album, but it could have been.
It's very possible.
I'm pretty sure it was a Randall. And I think he used those for his whole career until he used Crank after a while. But I think that might have just been when he was with Damage Plan.
Yeah.
I don't remember when Crank amps came out, but those are fucking sick too.
Yeah, they're really good.
And again, that was another one. I would always, when I would like go to Guitar Center or whatever to try out amps, I would always, for some reason, stay away from Cranks because I just always thought that his tone sounded like shit.
Right.
But again, it's one of those things. Well, he had his specific tone. You can set those up to sound however you want. You know? But I always just hated that fucking mid-scooped fucking tone. But I'm like, listening to it now, like if you listen to it the way it's meant to be listened to,
right,
it makes total fucking sense.
I think that Dimebag, if he were to play on, say, a 5150 with a Tube Screamer, he would still sound like Dime. It's just he wouldn't have that same.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's got their little nuances and shit.
Right.
But certain tones just don't work for certain people.
Right.
You know, like if I played on, for example, your rig.
Yeah.
Or you played on mine, which you know, it just won't sound the same. It won't
Right.
sound like you, or you know, it just won't sound right.
Right. So I mean, I think that's kind of the point with his tone was, yeah. I mean, if you play on his rig with his tone, yeah, it might not sound the greatest.
You'll get the idea, be like, oh yeah, that's the tone, you
Yeah.
know, but that's the tone. That's not
Right.
his
It's
tone,
not- yeah.
you know.
And it's not, in reality, it's not your tone either.
But live, his shit sounds fucking awesome too. Again, it's fucking cranked.
Right.
What's this song? It's still Psycho Holiday?
Yeah, it's like Holiday. This is one of the longer songs on here. Like on this album is
Cemetery
weird.
Gates, that song. How long? Cemetery Gates is almost 8 minutes long, isn't it? Or is
Yeah,
it
that
just
one's
over
around
7?
8. Because they had a couple of longer ones on this album, but a lot of them were like 4 minutes or so.
Yeah,
So
because
it's really
I
weird.
was looking at it before you came over, and I was like, "Fuck, this album's almost an hour long.
Yeah.
It's only 12 songs." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, well, yeah, I forgot about Cemetery Gates
Yeah.
first of all, but yeah, I guess every song. What's the shortest one's like 3 minutes, but other than that, the rest of them are around 5."
Yeah, when we get to Cemetery Gates too, that's the other signature for Dimebag is his squeals and his insane whammy bar dives. I don't think there's a person alive that can replicate exactly how he did it.
Well, England can do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's lucky.
But that guy, he spent like his whole career like trying to not be Dimebag, but Pantera was his favorite band forever, and
Oh, yeah.
Dimebag's his biggest influence. So of course he knows how to do it. And
Yeah.
it was funny because when they're still getting a lot of shit, but when Pantera got back together with Zakk Wylde and Charlie Benante,
Yeah.
Zakk Wylde, so he did an interview with Ola, and he said he had to watch some of Ola's videos to learn how to play some of his
Wow.
solos.
That's
and
fucking
he was
crazy.
just super humbled by it.
I mean,
And I just thought that was kind of cool.
like for the longest time, kind of like how you were saying how you felt about Pantera. That's how I felt about Zakk Wylde in general. Like
Yeah.
I was just like, for the longest time, I don't know what it was,
Dude, I was
but
the same
fucking
way.
hated Zakk Wylde, and then out of nowhere, I'm just like, you know, I'm gonna listen to some of his stuff that he does and everything,
Yeah.
and he's awesome.
I was
like,
the same way. He came off like such a fucking dick, and I know exactly why it was, because he said something in an interview about how Offspring can't play a Randy Rhoads solo or
Oh,
something
that's
like
right,
that, and I'm
yeah.
like, well, yeah, of course not. They're fucking Offspring. But back
And he
then, I was
actually
like,
can.
fuck them, because I was a huge Offspring fan when I was a kid,
Right.
and I was like, fuck Zakk Wylde, you know?
Yeah,
But it's like thinking about it now, it's like, well, of course, why would they? There's no fucking reason for them to have to play a fucking Randy Rhoads solo.
it's interesting to me because that just seems in general to be how metal guitarists view like punk guitarists. Yet, like Sum 41, they can play a lot of heavy metal songs. I'm sure the guys in Offspring can. I'm sure Green Day they can't. I know nobody likes Green Day
Fuck
anymore,
Green
but
Day. But I mean, a lot of stuff is taken out of context too, you know.
Right.
And maybe I read it out of context or whatever, but I mean, I think that's the point he was trying to make, is like, why would they? You know,
Right.
I don't think he was saying they suck because they can't do
Right.
it.
I
I don't
love
even
this
think
song.
this is the finest moment in this album. It's a great song, don't get me wrong, but dude, that fucking breakdown in Domination.
oh yeah,
Oh, but even that, like, just it's good and heavy and everything, but like that live video of them playing it,
Yeah.
oh my fucking god, and they're just like stomping around and shit,
Yep.
and oh my god. And then like I think I said it in another video, but then like that they were opening for Metallica,
yeah,
and Dimebag, I guess, walked off stage and looked Kirk Hammett right in the face. And he goes, good luck following that.
yeah.
But
And Dimebag was like that. Like some interviews that I've seen
just
of
like
his.
to fuck with people.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, who else was there in the '90s? There was these guys. There was Machine Head. I think In Flames had just started. Shit, there was a lot of
There was a
90s
lot.
metal bands.
and there was a lot of side bands too. Like even for Pantera, what was it, Down? Or was that later in the 2000s?
Yeah, that was after Phil left, I think,
Yeah,
and then that must have been around when Dimebag and Vinnie Paul started Damage Plan.
yeah. Okay, so it was
I
later
might
in
be
the
wrong.
2000s.
Casey would know.
Yeah,
Casey, when did Down start? They're fucking good too, and I think I just read that Phil is getting Down back together, or they put out a new single or something.
that's pretty cool. And Phil still got it. I mean, I don't think he's got as much power as he had
Dude,
back in
I
the
think
day.
he
but
sounds better now than he did back then.
Really?
Because he's sober now,
Well, yeah,
you know?
that's gonna help a lot.
And I was watching some of the Pantera live videos from recently. He sounds fucking great. He sounds
That's
really
great.
good. Sounds really good.
Production wise, though, there was something I wanted to mention, is because you can really hear it in this song. the drums had a massive reverb on it. I mean, it was insane.
Yeah,
It's
it
such a
sounds
90s
huge.
thing to do.
Yeah.
Just a big fucking gigantic shotgun of a snare drum.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't, like, after hearing more modern metal and stuff, I really don't understand why they took that approach in the 90s, because it just kind of washes everything out, you know what I mean?
I think it was just to make it sound huge, just big and powerful.
Yeah. Just, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that, but
I think it sounds awesome.
yeah.
But Phil did a guest spot with somebody too, and I can't remember, but his vocals are fucking insane, dude. Like some of his screams he does now, oh my god, like I never thought he could, like those real deep guttural, just
Okay.
oh,
So kind of like what Chuck Billy does now?
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember who it was, but yeah, he did a guest spot on somebody's album.
Well, because that would make sense, because like those guys are getting up there in age. Like Phil, he's got to be mid-50s by now.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that fucking yeah.
That's why I love this song. And then it echoes it with the guitar.
Yeah.
Like, it's so cool.
Yeah, there's a video out there too of Ola England doing a cover of this with Anthony Vincent
Oh,
on
yeah.
vocals, and that is fucking
Anthony Vincent's the shit too.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean,
he's on everybody's YouTube channels.
that guy's fucking awesome. Yeah. But
said-
I mean, he wasn't like perfect, you know. There's
Well, no.
like, but it was damn good.
He said curly, like long black
Long-haired,
curly hair guy.
He looks
yeah.
like super Italian.
Yeah.
He has like
Yeah,
the
that guy's
mustache.
fucking
Yeah,
insane.
he was really good, dude. Fucking Domination.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, we just hit Domination, and I'll admit, like at first, like when I first heard this album, I was like, it's one of the weaker tunes, you know, it's all right. But then over the years, I'm like, no, this is not a weak tune. This is a pretty good one.
Especially that guitar solo going into that breakdown. Oh,
Yeah.
I talk about this a lot, but to me, there's not a whole lot better. You know?
No, I mean, nothing about this song is bad.
No.
And to be honest, I don't think there's a bad song on this album.
I don't think I've listened to it enough. This is the first time I've listened to the whole album in probably like 10 years.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, it's been a while for me too, but at the same time, it always comes up on my playlist. Like, it's always, maybe not in a row, but like every now and again, I'll just get a song off here, and it's pretty cool.
And that rhythm he does right here, that dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Oh yeah,
It's like
a pseudo gallop.
yeah, but if you slow it down, it's like what does that be like? Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun.
Oh, kind of like a swing.
Kind of, yeah. Or like a shuffle. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a shuffle if you slow it down. But that's a really hard technique, and he's just like,
Yeah,
you know, he's just going down like a chromatic scale, but that's really hard to do that.
it is. Well, and accurately and all that. I mean, because it can be done, but a lot of time it's real sloppy sounding.
Yeah.
But with him, it's nice and tight.
Yeah,
Him and his brother. I mean,
man, he like perfected like the alternate picking.
oh yeah.
He really did.
See, like those kind of things too. They just like that, like
Yeah.
throws like some triplet figures in. Like it's really cool.
Dude. I love that it's only one guitar, because like a lot of times the guitar just fucking cuts, and then his solos are just so fucking big.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Ooh, shit.
I mean, that's just a double track, but
Yeah, but still.
oh god, that sounds so good.
See, now that's where his tone sounds great, is when he
His leads.
harmonizes and all that. Like, it sounds awesome when he harmonizes himself.
Oh shit, here we go. Yeah, dude. Dude, that's the best fucking breakdown ever.
You can't help but to bob your head with it.
And he was talking about that drum sound, but it's just, dude.
Yeah.
It
I mean,
works
in
so
here
good.
it works great. But, I mean, in the other songs, I'm just like,
And then the solo that comes right after this, it's just chromatics, but
Oh, yeah.
oh my god. Dude.
Now, the interesting thing about that breakdown, too, because, I mean, everybody sits here and goes, it's so simple but effective and all that kind of stuff. It's really not. Like, if you're really listening to it, he's coming in on and off the beat every time he starts it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's either right dead on with 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1 and... But there it's and a 1 and a 2 and a... You know what I mean?
Yeah, every other time he comes in on the 2.
Yeah. Like, it's really cool. Like, even the simplest of riffs, you can like make them complicated just by alternating where on the beat you're going to be.
Again, I wasn't a huge Pantera fan, and at the time, just like, okay, but it was one of the only times that a metal musician got on the fucking national news. And I remember at the time I just didn't care, because I didn't care about Pantera, and
Right.
I again didn't know a fucking thing about Dimebag Darrell and all. Back then I was so against like drugs and shit like that I was just like, oh, he's a fucking pothead, who cares, But I remember so many people being broken up about it,
Right.
and I just didn't fucking get it. And then, like thinking back now, like I feel kind of bad that I was that way about it, and I totally get it, like, yeah, he was a fucking god. Right. He was a guitar fucking god. Like there's nobody like him anymore. The point I was getting to was, it's crazy how like musicians like that, they become a legend after they died.
Right.
But Dimebag was a legend while he was still alive. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So like I think that's why it was more of a big deal when he died.
Right.
And I'm not saying it wasn't a big deal when like the Rev died or when Randy Rhoads died or whatever,
right.
but and Cliff Burton too. He was another one of those, and he was only in Metallica for what, 2-3
like
years?
3 or 4 years.
Well,
3 years,
82 to, yeah. But again, he was a living legend, and then he died, and then he was a god after that. Same thing with Dimebag, same thing with Randy Rhoads, and Randy Rhoads was only same thing. He was only with Ozzy for like 2 years,
right? And then plus he was real young too. I think he was only like 26.
Yeah.
So I mean, people forget about that too, because like those older musicians.
All of them, dude. Randy Rhoads was young. Cliff Burton was in his, he was 20, around the same age. Fucking the Rev was only like 27, 28.
Yep.
Not even. It was, I think he was like 27 or 28. I think Joey Jordison was a little bit older. I think he was in his 40s, but still. Same thing with Alexi Laiho. I think he was just in his 40s. And
yeah.
It sucks. And prime example, the guy from, we talked about him the last video, Ollie Herbert.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed like nobody gave a fuck when he died.
That's because nobody really knew that band.
Nobody really cared about All That Remains.
Yeah.
People don't give a shit about musicians dying.
No.
Well, they don't care about metal
At the
musicians
time.
dying.
Yeah.
Only metalheads care.
Right.
Only our community cares.
And it's especially at the time. Like later on in retrospect, like Dimebag's a prime example, at least for me. Because I'll admit I was in the same boat you were. Like when he died, I was like, okay. And I just didn't really think much of it. And then, you hear about like, oh, he got shot and all that. And I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Yeah.
Well, then you hear about how he got shot, why he got shot.
Yeah.
And then what kind of legacy he left before that and everything. And you're like, damn, that was a huge blow,
I still don't think I know the whole story. Like, why did he get shot? I don't know why. I know how, but I don't remember why.
Dude was fucking crazy. I mean, he went up there. I guess he was like a huge Pantera fanboy, and he was pissed because Pantera broke up.
Oh.
And he blamed Dimebag for it. So he went up on stage, and he was the first shot he made, and then he shot a bunch of other people up on stage too. But
yeah, that's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean, he was such a huge Pantera fanboy that he just couldn't stand that they
so
were
he
broke
loved
up,
Pantera so much that
he killed the only chance they were going to get back together.
Yeah. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
He killed the fucking soul of Pantera.
Yeah.
Because he loved Pantera. I'm sorry, but that's just fucking stupid.
It is.
You know,
like, you don't
you're gonna go up there.
somebody.
You're gonna go up there and kill the guy that started Pantera because you loved Pantera so much.
Yeah.
And and it wasn't even him it wasn't his fault that Pantera ended.
No.
It was fucking Phil's fault. They couldn't
Phil
handle
got
it because
fucked up.
he was so heroin, I think.
Yeah, and he was doing
fucked
it
up on
because of
heroin and
back problems, and I'm like, I don't know about that. I think he was just on heroin.
He was a heroin addict, and it was because of him that Diamond and Vinnie Paul left. Tons of interviews, they asked him, is there any possibility of a Pantera reunion? Now that, because I think it was after Phil had gotten clean, and he was like, no.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of people, they're getting a lot of shit for starting it over because,
they waited till the brothers died.
And even after that, it wasn't even they waited until after. It was that Vinnie Paul always said, no, there will be no Pantera reunion.
Yeah.
And then they did it anyway. So I think they're just getting a lot of heat for it. Having said that, I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
And I'm glad of all people they got Zakk Wylde to fill in. I think I'm not saying Vinnie Paul wasn't a great drummer. He was, and he definitely had his own sound. But I think any drummer would have been fine. I don't know why they specifically went with Charlie Benante, but he's doing a damn good job.
Was he from Anthrax?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's doing a really
makes
fucking
sense.
good job, though.
Yeah. At least we have a chance to hear some semblance of Pantera. I mean, no, let's be real. We're never going to hear Pantera again the way that they were.
I'm really glad that they're doing it, because I think there's a whole generation of people and kids that, they've missed out.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that there's at least somebody out there doing it pretty damn well justice.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
And Zakk Wylde was Dimebag's best friend, and I mean, who better to do it? I mean, I'm sure that there's guitarists that could have played it more like Dimebag, but Zakk Wylde's like, he's Zakk Wylde. Like, he can't play guitar without sounding like Zakk. He does those pinch harmonics. He does those crazy bends and shit all the time.
Well, and to be honest, too, of Zakk Wylde, not only him being his best friend, but I mean, it's cool to hear Zakk Wylde's take on how Pantera would sound.
There was a lot of question if they were going to, work on a new album, and they're just no. No, we're not. They said if we do, it'll be
in poor taste.
They said if we put out another album, it'll be a live album.
Yeah, and I think that would be okay.
I think they should. Did they ever put out a live album before?
I don't think so. I don't think. Did they even make a Greatest Hits album? They might have.
Yeah, there's a Greatest Hits album, but I don't know if they did a live album. They should.
I think so. Because I mean, no, I mean if they were to put out a studio album with the lineup as it is, I think that'd be in poor taste.
Yeah,
I really do.
And I don't think they will.
Yeah.
Even if there was an idea of it, I feel like Zakk Wylde would say, no, I'm not doing it.
Right. Now, I mean, this lineup, that would be awesome to hear them put out an album, but don't call it Pantera.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Make a new band.
Yeah, because I mean, the lineup that they have, that's fucking sick.
I think that's awesome, yeah.
That would be...
Make a new band.
A really cool album.
I think if they do it, make a new band.
Yeah.
Put out an album. Don't call it Pantera. Please don't.
Right.
Don't make it sound like Pantera.
Yeah, I mean, just be yourselves.
It's going to sound like Pantera no matter what, just because it's fucking Phil.
Yeah, Rex and Phil.
But
at what point, though, do you sit here and say we got to change the name of the band and all that kind of stuff? And put out an album?
It depends on the fans.
Yeah.
Because, if everybody knows, every Pantera fan knows, every metal musician knows, every metalhead knows that Dimebag and Vinnie Paul were Pantera.
Yeah.
And I mean, look at how much shit. It's all about the fans. The new Linkin Park shit. Look how pissed off people are because their new singer.
Chester.
Because it's not Chester, and they're still,
Yeah.
Fucking Chester's kid is pissed off about it. Everybody's pissed off about it. I personally don't care. To me, I think Linkin Park died a long time before Chester Bennington did. But
I think so. After Meteora, I'm sorry, but those first two albums were. That was Linkin Park.
I don't know. I think after Minutes to Midnight, I'm really glad that I changed my mind about Pantera, because I feel now that I've been missing out for the last 15, 20 years or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, I mean, what can I say? I mean, there's numerous bands that have kind of shaped my style as a guitar player, and Pantera is certainly one of them. I mean, it was like right around the time that I found and discovered these guys, I was into like Yngwie, Joe Satriani, Dream Theater, that kind of stuff. So it was all those bands all lumped into one that kind of helped me really give me that push to kind of practice a lot more and learn my scales and shit like that, and learn a little bit of theory. And yeah, I mean, because I think every guitar player goes through that. They're like, oh, I want to play like that guy, Yep. So, and that's one of the I want to play like that guy kind of bands is what this was for me. So.
Yeah, I don't want to say they're one of my favorite bands, but they're definitely up there.
Yeah, I would say for me at least top 20 at very least.
Yeah. It's probably blasphemous to say as a metal musician or a metalhead or whatever, but I don't know. I'm just more into newer metal.
Right. Well, and I was going to say, too, me being more on the progressive side of progressive metal for the most part, that's kind of why I would say top 20 is because I have to leave a lot of room for a lot of the progressive bands, too, because I'm kind of more into that than... Like, I'll admit that. I'm kind of more into the progressive side, so...
I'll say these guys are at least in my top 10, because... I mean, without Pantera, like I said, we wouldn't have bands like the shit I listen to now. Like, they're just...
Right.
They were just the exact opposite of everything else that was popular at the time,
Oh, yeah.
Because rock and metal was getting a lot more just kind of bland sounding, and they just were like, no, fuck that. We just keep being aggressive.
Aggressive, exciting.
Yeah.
good solos, and that too. Right around that time, that's when the solo. It was so weird. Like the guitar solo was kind of like fading out a little bit, but it was so gradual. And it got to the point where it would become a little more elementary, and then very basic, and then gone. And I was like, man. Like to me, I was like, that was like a kick in the nuts to me, not hearing a guitar solo anymore. I was like,
oh, what kicked me in the nuts is when fucking Metallica didn't do any guitar solos.
Yeah,
that whole album.
Yeah, Saint
That's
Anger.
another whole thing. We're not going to talk about Saint Anger. We're going to pretend like that never happened. I don't know. I'm glad I found these guys. You know, I regret not listening to them sooner, and I feel genuinely bad about how I was about when Dimebag died, but I was ignorant back then. I just didn't know. You know.
Yeah, and you know,
I was 13. Well, that was Pantera. Oh, you're fucking.
I'll take care.
He's got an old phone, like it's backwards.
It's shit.
Yeah, well, that's Pantera Cowboys from Hell. I don't know. I think it's, again, I haven't listened to all their albums, but the ones that I've listened to, I still think it's their best.
I kind of want to do Rust in Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have heard most of their other stuff, and I am ashamed to admit this, but Rust in Peace, I've probably heard the least, and yet it's my favorite.
And they're another one of those bands that I love Megadeth, but they're another one that I hated for a long time because I was such a big Metallica fan. But I've only listened to, I don't think I've listened to any of their full albums. I've listened to Cryptic Writings.
Yeah, Cryptic Writings was great, and then Symphony of
and
Destruction.
I've listened to Symphony. Yeah, I've listened to that whole album a bunch of times.
Or I'm sorry, Countdown to Extinction.
Yeah,
I always call it Symphony of Destruction.
They should have just called it that. That song was better. If we're getting a little dark and heavy, then fuck you. Stop watching our videos. But it's winter here too. It's coming into winter, and that's
getting
when
dark and heavy because it's winter time.
That's when metal just feels right, especially like thrash metal. It feels so right in the winter for me.
Right. And then I don't know, like for me too, in the spring, that's when I start listening to like the more, I'm not gonna say pop, but like the more like 90s kind of stuff.
I just listen to metal all year.
Yeah. like I don't know, like I'm weird like that.
Thrash metal just goes really good in the winter for some reason, and Norwegian death metal goes good.
I don't know about you, but
Swedish metal.
A lot of my writing as a guitar player and everything, I write my best stuff in the winter.
Because it's always dark and shitty, and you get that seasonal depression. And
yeah, well, and I think I have more focus too when I'm in the winter. Like it's really weird. Like I'm more focused and I'm more creative and I'm more artistic during the winter time. Like it's hard to explain, but I can't write shit in the summer and spring. I don't understand that.
It's because we're not happy people.
Right.
We're angry and pissed and depressed and Midwestern all the time. And
everybody's out playing in the park, and I'm like,
it's because we're Midwestern all the time.
Right.
But yeah, so I guess we're gonna go, and we'll see you next week, and we're gonna listen to Megadeth.
Yes, sir.
Rust in peace, you say?
Hell yeah, rust that shit in peace.
Yeah, so that'd be cool. I'm excited. I love Megadeth. So yeah, I guess goodbye. Well, the way that we do it, we might not be next week. No, we'll do it next week.
We'll do it in the future.
See you guys next week.